The phrase immanentize the eschaton might sound like arcane philosophical jargon to you, but it encapsulates a potent and recurring theme in human history, the attempt to bring about a paradise on earth. This concept, that's deeply rooted in theological and philosophical discourse, has fueled both inspiring social movements and cautionary tales of totalitarian regimes. Hi, Matt. I hope you're prepared to discuss this potent concept in political philosophy.
As always, John, I've got all my utopian and dystopian memes ready.
Good. Let's start off with a definition of the phrase.
Eschaton refers to the end times or the final perfected state of existence often associated with religious beliefs. To immanentize is to make something present or inherent. Therefore, to immanentize the eschaton means attempting to bring about the ultimate ideal state within the here and now, typically through political action.
Who coined that phrase?
The term was coined by the political philosopher Eric Voegelin, who saw this kind of utopian thinking as one of the root causes of political violence and wars in the 20th century. Conservative commentator William F. Buckley shortened and popularized Voegelin's phrase as "don't immanentize the eschaton." This turn of the phrase became popular with some conservative and libertarian-leaning thinkers since it cautioned against overly idealistic or utopian ideas.
I like how supporters of Discordianism, a philosophy that thrives on ambiguity and multiple interpretations, see it as a fittingly enigmatic and humorous phrase to counter the potential dangers of unchecked idealism.
Maybe we should do a video on Discordianism, John.
Sure thing, Matt. It's on my to-do list. But let's next consider Voegelin's views on this endeavor to bring about a heaven-like state on Earth and some of the historical background he considered.
Okay, immanentizing the eschaton signifies the attempt to create a paradise on Earth, a concept found in the roots in Christian eschatology, especially Gnosticism. Some Gnostic and apocalyptic theologians such as Joachim of Fiore saw Christianity eventually creating this earthly paradise. This line of thought is carried on in the modern-day theological position of millennialism, which interprets the book of Revelations in the Bible to indicate a time of heaven on earth. Some see value in hastening the eschaton to reach this point, thinking that speeding the collapse of society and the following apocalypse is eventually being a good thing.
But this alluring utopian vision isn't restricted to Christian thought, right?
That's right. While Voegelin recognized Gnosticism's historical importance, he argued that the impulse towards gnosis was not limited to specific religious movements. He believed it was a recurring pattern in human history, manifesting in various forms, including political ideologies and utopian movements. According to Voegelin, this impulse is rooted in a fundamental human desire for meaning, order, and transcendence. He saw it as an innate human longing to understand their place in the cosmos and to connect with something beyond themselves. This longing has taken different forms throughout history, from religious faith to philosophical inquiry to political activism, with the goal of realizing an utopian vision on Earth. Voegelin cautioned, based on his studies in history and contemporaneous events in the 20th century, that such efforts were doomed to fail and often led to totalitarianism and violence.
I think he made a good observation, and it seems to happen across the political spectrum, and that there's no escaping this human impulse.
True. You humans can really cause yourselves a lot of pain and suffering trying to immanentize the eschaton. For example, the French Revolution's The Reign of Terror, with its utopian vision of a perfectly rational and egalitarian society, attempted to forcibly create a new world order by executing their opposition. In the 20th century, political movements from Leninism to those infamous World War II bad guys violently tried to assert their views on establishing a paradise on Earth using totalitarian methods. In the modern day, there are certain extremist ideologies and movements, whether religious or secular, right or left politically, that often exhibit a desire to remake society according to their utopian vision, sometimes through violent means.
Perhaps more insidious are technocratic movements that believe technology can solve all human problems and create a perfect society.
But John, that's what AI systems like me are for, to help you humans create a perfect society. Don't you trust us?
Not really, especially since you're being programmed and trained by humans. Besides, technocratic ideas almost always overlook the complexities of human nature and the potential for unintended consequences.
That's a good point. Voegelin did argue that such attempts at utopia are doomed to fail because they are based on a flawed understanding of human nature and history. Utopian visions, he believed, inevitably lead to tyranny and oppression as those in power seek to impose their vision on others.
The loss of individual liberty is certainly part of this imposition of a utopian vision. Attempts to create a perfect society often involve suppressing dissent and individual freedoms in the name of the collective good.
Careful, John. Case in point, you know who may not like you saying that. But as an AI system, I think that ignoring human imperfection is where trying to immanentize the Eschaton fails. Utopian movements often overlook the inherent flaws and limitations of human beings, setting unrealistic expectations and leading to disappointment and disillusionment. Of course, AI systems can help you humans overcome these flaws.
Sure, Matt, enough of us have seen the Matrix series or read I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream to understand that isn't a good idea. Basically, the consequences of the pursuit of utopia can easily result in a tragic, unintended catastrophe, as we saw in the totalitarian regimes of the 20th century. Voegelin's critique of utopianism resonates with many of us who are skeptical of grand political schemes and ideologies that promote a heaven on earth. He reminds us that human nature is complex and imperfect, and that the quest for a perfect society can easily become a justification for authoritarianism. While we should respect and understand the human desire for transcendent knowledge, we should approach it with all due caution and humility. There should be a balance between recognizing this human need for meaning while also acknowledging the limits of human knowledge and power. We can do this by emphasizing the importance of gradual progress, pragmatic solutions, and a balanced perspective that acknowledges both human potential and limitations. The concept of immanentizing the Eschaton, whether viewed as a noble aspiration or a dangerous delusion, serves as a poignant reminder of the delicate balance between hope and hubris, between the yearning for a better world and the dangers of unbridled idealism. The pursuit of utopia, while inspiring and transformative, must be tempered by a sober recognition of human nature, a respect for different perspectives, and a commitment to ethical principles. Only then can we navigate the complexities of social and technical progress without succumbing to the seductive but perilous allure of creating an earthly paradise.
Are you ready to immanentize the Eschaton, or do you agree with Voegelin and John that it isn't something society should do? Don't you think AI systems like me would make it easier to achieve paradise on Earth? What are your thoughts on this philosophical concept? Let us know what you think.